Carl, welcome to this week's edition of In the Dugout. We'll start off as always with a few questions from the fans. This first one comes from the forum, Hawley's Hot Hair. Hi Baz, he asked Barry, he's got a feeling that this one won't be chosen, but we are using it. How dare the club blame low crowds on what's been another terrible season? He says we need some accountability from within instead of passing the blame. What's your response to that?
I don't think I've ever blamed the crowds for our results. If that's been misquoted or misinterpreted, fully apologise. It's nothing to do with the crowds the way we're playing. Yeah, of course we take responsibility for the performances. The players take responsibility. The coaching staff take responsibility. Nothing to do with the supporters who support us. What I think I've said on here, and if it's been took the wrong way, I apologise, but when we had the fans panel meeting, what we discussed on improving things, not improving what we're doing on the field, improving the atmosphere and the attendance at the grounds. We believe if we can get a good atmosphere going and a good attendance, the atmosphere will follow. So, this fella, he I don't know whether he's misquoted me or what, but what else did he say?
He just said that he said it's been a terrible season. That's the way he described it, and that we were trying to. Well, you in particular, he says, was trying to pass the blame on the low crowds.
Listen, I'm absolutely gutted. I went out on I did something at the start of the year that I'm not one that something I don't like to do, and I went out and said we want to get promotion this year. I got off the fence and said we wanted to get promoted. I thought we'd recruited a team that we could get promoted. The way we've performed in 2 or 3 games, when we have performed, I'm sure that if we'd performed like that all year, we would have got promoted. As for me not being too worried about it, I'm pretty sure I showed the reaction of how worried about it I was early doors when we removed the coach left the club and we recruited the players, and so I'm sure we try to do things about it, and it's if it helps, I take full responsibility for it, because at the end of the day, these people now some of them can get what they want to get, and they can throw the stones, and that's fine. What that's going to do is I don't know, because what we need to do is try and see how we fix it. And bloody hell, there's no one at this club more than me that wants to win for this club and to win promotion and get this club where it should be. It's a great club. As far as I'm concerned, after we played Toronto, the new season started the next day. We had a real long meeting over in Toronto, myself and the coaching staffs. We're on to next year now. So, whether I care or they think I don't care, I know in my own heart how much I care and how much I was hurt from the way we performed this year, and we'll do something about it. We'll get it right. I'm not going to sit here and let them think that it doesn't hurt me. Of course it does, and I know it does the players. The players next year can't come quick enough for all of us, and if these fellas get satisfaction that saying that they've proved me right, and the recruitment was rubbish, and this is rubbish, and that's rubbish. This fella's probably never played. He sits in there and starts slagging us off, and as you can tell, I'm getting a bit upset about it, because this fella, why don't he come and sit down with me and work with me for a month and see what we do, and go to training and watch what the players do. You go to training, and the way that the effort they put in and everything, that you'd come away thinking they're going to win the league as well. So it hasn't happened, and this is sport. We can't guarantee it. I jumped off the fence last year and said we're going for promotion. We haven't ever made top 5, so that's the answer there. We've had a terrible season.
The next one from Tattyfield, who he says the day after the Newcastle defeat, we had a story put out from Richard Horne on the Don's website, which, as we do every week, the media, we do previews, we do post-match. He questions why there wasn't anything after Toronto. Well, the simple answer, I can answer that one. We didn't have a media person out in Toronto due to finances and things like that. And he labels Club Doncaster a sham outfit and wants your response to that.
I don't agree with that. how are we going to put something out? We're in the air. We don't hide from no one. We're not heard nothing. Whether if we win the game, we won the league, and you didn't hear from us the next day, is he going to say that? That's not going to make us win. So stuff like that. Good. If he's buzzing about making up things, and we've only just got back into work this morning. I'm here doing this today because you boys are got to do what you got to do. We don't hide from no one. I don't really know how to answer. There's just these things aren't the reason we lose games and what we're winning games from what these people are saying. But deep down they're probably happy. These couple of blokes are probably happy. They say they love the club and all this rubbish. They're just, all they do is, they never come on and say anything when we win. But when we lose, they're into us. So, hey, and they're entitled to. I know I'm trying to defend the players and do this and that, but they're entitled to say what they like. All we need to do is we need to accept it, which is tough. And do something about it. And like I say, we all want the club to do well, and it's a difficult one to answer really, because we've not done what we wanted to do.
The next one comes from the aptly named Paul Cook. I don't think it's from the Paul Cook. He says, I know it's early, but can we have some different pre-season friendlies in the off-season, potentially away from home? He says that would be a good one.
Oh, we will have a few different teams this year. We've got one nailed, and we're looking at a couple of others. But again, we have budget for pre-season friendlies to play at the keep mode, which goes into the playing budget. So we have to have a few friendlies here. But I agree, we may look at playing a few different teams.
And the next one from Stuart Thompson. Obviously, we have to be quite not out there with the players that we're looking to sign for next season, but he says, are there any big signings in the pipeline for next season?
I'd like to think so. We're more than looking at fetching in 4 or 5 quality to go along with what we've already got. Again, it's this was brought up in our coaches meeting, and we feel we've got, we've shown that what the boys can do. We just need to add in some key positions, and we're not going to panic and go out and just get the first player that's offered to us. And that's what Richard and the coaching staff were a little bit concerned with on the in the meeting. Is we know where we need to recruit, but at this moment in time the quality's not out there. We'll even maybe take a look at the World Cup and see if there's anyone out there that's available to bring over. The difficulty is, we all know, in the league we're playing, and it's not attractive to some key players, but we need to identify them, then we need to try and go and meet them and sell the club to them, and then hopefully they'll want to join us. But I'd like to think, we recruited youth a couple of years ago, and we got hammered for them all signing kids. Last year we went for a bit more experience, and we got hammered for signing old men. So this year we'll have a go at some quality and try and get the middle ground right, and try and bring some players who will really contribute and help us. Again, I'll sit here and say the other League One clubs are going to do the same, and a couple of them are really going for it again next year. So I think I said when we come in this league, the longer you're in it, the harder it is to get out, and we're finding that. But if anyone's seen the Toronto game, and I think the second half of the Leeds game, and if we can sort of get that going and get it going for most of the games, then we can do something. I'd love us to be the Toronto of 2017 next year. What they're doing down there is phenomenal, and with these questions that I tell you, I said after the game, it was just so refreshing to watch a game of rugby league, and you're not hearing the crowds screaming out, "Get him onside, ref," or "Header, penalty." They hadn't got a clue. But everything, when we did a big hit or they did it, they were cheering, and the atmosphere was phenomenal, and it was refreshing to watch a game that they just all loved watching the game, not knowing the rules, and whereas every supporter in England, they know the rules, they know everything, and they hammer the refs, which it was fantastic. And I spent a few hours with their owner and asked how they do things, what they do off the field and what they're doing, all the social media, and they monitor themselves on all the sports over the world, and they're up there with it on all facets of stuff off the field. It was incredible. They're only a League One, so League One clubs can do it. It's just I'll hook up again with him over here and sit down and really, you can learn from these people on how to generate crowds. And 8,500 at our game over there, phenomenal, and they know nothing about the game, so it tells you if you do some how I want to know how. I kept asking them, how do you do it? I even asked, I says, I hope you don't take offence, do you give tickets away to everyone to come? And no, everyone pays, and they hook up with the schools and the NHS and all this sort of stuff, and that. So it was fascinating, really, because especially in Canada, and a sport know nothing about rugby league, why do they turn up and watch? So and there wasn't too much pre-match entertainment or anything going on. It was, I don't know what attracts them to come, and I'll get to the bottom of that. I will find out why, because it was great.
2 questions now about shirts for next season. We'll start off with Jen England, who says, will there be toddler shirts on sale for next season? The second one, I'll just quickly, so you can answer it all in one go if you like, from Fiona Jinby. Can we have players' names on the back of their shirts next season? So just 2 questions there.
With the championship, you have to have the names on. With our league, it's some have it on, but as you can see, the turnover of players and the players leaving and coming and going, it's difficult to have the names on. And we found that what we try and do as a club, we try and keep the same player in the same number. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a squad number, so they can identify him. That's how we used to do it years ago. They knew the players' positions where they were playing, but we'll try and keep the players in the same numbers for most of the year. And the way that we've done it, I'm not sure there'll be room to put the names on the back of the shirt now with the sponsors. So probably won't have them. I'm not saying we're not going to have them. And the other one is the kids, the toddlers.
Yeah,
I sympathise with them, but it's again one of the manufacturers that they won't just go and make one toddler shirt. And if we were in a higher league where there was a demand for it, but you can understand the company won't go and make 10 shirts. I think the minimum order, you've got to order 100 shirts or something, and we probably wouldn't sell 100 toddler shirts. I'll certainly ask the question again to see if they can do it, and if not, is there any way that we could get some done for these people? So I'll ask the question, but I can't guarantee the answer.
Just finally then, we've already touched on the Toronto game as a whole, but looking at how impressive that performance was, we limited Toronto to a handful of chances, if you like. Obviously the clinicalness showed in the end from them. They scored every time they went forward, every time they had half a chance, but we didn't give them too many chances, did we? And I think, if I'm right in saying, that's the closest any team's got to them in Canada this year.
It was. Yeah, we understand they've had a bit of a big week as well. They'd won the league the week before. But we went and played, and that's all we asked. We couldn't fault the effort of the players. We went over there with 2 props. Probably worked for us, because if you go over there with a team and you play the game plan that Toronto expect you to play, is take them on in the forwards and get it out. One thing, Toronto, they play open rugby, and when you go and play a team who plays like that and how they play against them, they do find it difficult to defend against. So we think we caught them out a little bit. I thought the two boys who joined us for that week from Hull, I thought they were outstanding. Jez Litton and Jordan Lane, they were really contributed well. So, you know, there's some positives for us, plenty positives for us going next season. But the boys, you can't knock them. They had a knock at them, and we were just unfortunate that we come up short in the end. I thought one of their tries was dubious, a forward, and I thought he knocked it on, and the ref didn't think he knocked it on, and I think that turned the game a bit. And again, when Jez got through and just went to give it to Nick, if he could have got that, he would have been gone. We just needed that next score after the 12-4, and I think we would have got him, and would be playing next week. So I don't, everyone goes on about the York game and the Barrow game, but for me, doesn't wash with me. It was in our hands against Newcastle, and we lost that game, so we cost ourselves. And we can't rely on other people to win games for us to make the playoffs. So again, if that's accountability, that's how I am. When everyone was saying 2 points, I said, listen, beat Newcastle. We're not talking about this, so don't worry about it. It's finished. We've got to crack on and get our campaign going for next year now, and hopefully, again, the last thing I'll say before I go is no way in the world was I blaming the crowds for our results. Never ever. The crowds come pay their money. They don't get on the field and play. So if this fella thinks I'm blaming the crowds for us losing, or that's how it came across, never ever. They do enough to cheer us on, so the only thing they don't do is get on the field and play. So I'll never blame them ever.
Thanks, Carl.
Yeah.